Welcome to week 11 of manufacturing 256 CNC2. I believe this is week 4 of online learning. Coming to you from outside today. It's a beautiful day out. Typical New England weather lately. We've had a couple nice days, a couple bad days, so hopefully you're all healthy and safe and getting out and enjoying these nice days when we do get them. So, alright, this week we had fortunately had a little bit of a drop off again in our completion rate. We only had like 20 students finish this up, so not really sure what's going on. I know my workload that I've been giving you hasn't been that high. We only had one video to watch last week, so you know, we gotta keep in mind that we're from what I'm releasing, it's supposed to be filling in for about 6 hours of classwork, so, or at least 3 hours of classwork, 3 hours of lab time. So I've been trying to keep those workloads light just as we got started here to figure how things were going. I'm not sure what is going on with the other classes, you know, how much work you're getting, if that's an issue, or just, you know, life in general is getting in the way right now. It's a little stressful and tough for everyone. So just give me some feedback too. You know, this is difficult doing this one way. Some of you have been throwing some little notes in when you're sending in your assignments, just how things are going and what you think of it. So let me know. Curious to see what you guys think of the Haas program and the videos I created. Hopefully you all got a chance to watch that designed extrusion video, part 1 last week. Believe it or not, as bad as the quality is, it takes me quite a bit of time to put those together, you know, while I'm actually trying to make a part. You know, I can't really get things set up like I would want to and get into a lot of detail. You know, I'm getting paid to make a part, so I have to, that's my primary focus, and then just trying to get some footage and stuff to give you guys a little insight. I also threw another small video up there. Didn't have any audio or anything with it. It was just machining a little brass ring. I had in the notes of the video kind of what I did, tool list, things like that. Going forward, I'll probably try to just do some shorter stuff like that. I do have a bigger video I'm putting together on the extrusion side of that mandrel that I showed you, but you know, still working on that one. But after that, I'll probably just, when I see something that I think is kind of neat, a different setup, or you know, show you how, you know, I collaborate with other people at work, I might try to just shoot a quick video and post it up online. So keep an eye out for those. Yeah, just trying to give you something a little different to watch and see how things work in the real world. So with that, you know, talking about work, things are really busy still. I know the unemployment numbers are way high and you're hearing all this bad stuff in the news, but you know, we are still super busy right now. Our quoting levels are still really high. Again, it's been a little stressful for me at work, you know, trying to get things done, and I assist with sales, doing like time estimates on our jobs and stuff. So I've probably spent a good solid day and a half this week just, you know, working on that, quotes for, you know, upcoming jobs. And these are big projects. A lot of this stuff is defense related. It's still going strong. So again, keep your focus up in this program. You know, there are going to be jobs available when we finish this. Along that line, I had a couple questions this week about how are we going to finish this program, and that's still a little bit up in the air. I know Steve had mentioned the possibility of doing incompletes and then, you know, trying to get the lab work made up sometime. Right now the governor has said, you know, no schools are going to go back before May 20th, which would put us, you know, past our completion date for our semester. So any of those questions are kind of Steve related. You know, he's the director of the program. He's going to give the guidance to the instructors on how he wants to wrap this thing up. I know that's probably a concern for a lot of you that, you know, wanted to get your certificate and get out there and start applying for jobs. So we're working together. We're trying to figure it out. So again, any of those questions, you know, I can't really answer them. You know, I'm going to go by whatever guidance Steve sets forward. So okay, so this week on our assignment, you know, I mentioned that I have been keeping the workload light, but we're starting to wind down here. We only have a few weeks left, so this week's assignment is going to be a little bit more intensive. What I'd like to do is get into Chapter 5. This is probably the most important video so far that I've seen in this. This is starting to run a program. So this one, covers how to use the overrides, turning things down, single block, using all your senses as you're a machine operator, a tool maker out there. It's not just looking at what's happening, it's listening. I know we've mentioned that before in the class. Like, at the very beginning of this, I told you, I was like, you'd be talking to the EAs and they would just stop. They would hear something and they would run across the shop, say, hold on a minute, and run across the shop. I think some of you are starting to get to that point now. There's the obvious crashes that we all know something bad happened, but even just, small little changes in the tone of a tool, kind of, they're clues to what's happening in that machine. Also, as you're operating that CNC, if you have your hand on the machine, you can feel vibrations. All that comes into play to really learn about what's happening in that machine, especially as you're running production. If you're running 10 parts and then all of a sudden you start hearing some different noises and feeling some different vibrations, you're going to know that something's going wrong there. So they talk about that, and one of the things that they say is, the operator is the final check for a program. So you have those distance to go screens. Again, you're using single block, you're turning your rapids down, things like that. Really being cautious on the first run of a part, proving things out. So the next chapter is Chapter 6, the keypad and screen. So it gets a little more in depth. We've covered a lot of this already, but this one you really got to pay attention to. Most of their quizzes have been fairly straightforward so far. If you watch the video, it's, the multiple choice, are usually pretty easy to figure out. They'll throw, some oddballs in there, and then the true false ones can be a little tricky. You got to make sure you're reading through those, getting the wording correctly. But this one, Chapter 6, you really got to pay attention to detail on this one. They get into some of the questions and the way they're broken down. If you didn't really pay attention, honestly, I had to guess at a couple of the answers on this one, but I wasn't quite fully paying attention to it. So just make sure you're again, full attention to detail on these two chapters. So this one includes two chapters, the controlling keypad and screen, and essential control functions. So that's another good one. They get into what to do when things go wrong. So when you're hitting that E-stop, and how to deal with different alarms. We've had the opportunity to work through some of this on the simulators before we went to the online, and you were triggering alarms when you had errors in your program, and using the graphics screen, how to work through them, fix the errors, and go back, rerun it again. So this is a little more when you're actually running the machine. They talk a little bit about the tool changer recovery, which I said hopefully we never had to use in school, but again, it's good to know that it's there. Things will happen when you're out in industry, and so. And they also talk about the jog lock function, ability to use that. It's almost like power feed on the Prototracks that we use. The big thing with that is just be careful of other fixtures, stops, anything like that you have on the table when you're using it. I would never use it in Z, which you have to be cautious, because once you hit that jog lock key, it becomes active. So if you hit the Z negative button, it's going to start moving in the Z negative direction, which that means it's driving into the table. You never want to do that. X and Y is where we would use the jog lock function, but even then I have seen it happen where somebody was using it, they got distracted, walked away from the machine, and they ran it into the fourth axis that we had. They were machining a part down on the vise, which was lower, turned their back for a second, somebody asked them a question, they got distracted. I don't remember if they walked away or not, but it actually ran into the fourth axis that was mounted on the table. So didn't cause a lot of damage, but it could have been bad. So just big thing with that is when you're using jog lock, be cautious. So each one of these videos is around 15 minutes. We're looking at around 15 questions for each quiz, so it's quite a bit, a bigger workload than I've normally assigned. But like I said, we're starting to wind this thing down. We only really have a couple weeks left, so I want to try to wrap this up. If it is too much, let me know. Again, give me some feedback, all right? It's, like I said, these one-way things, it's just difficult. I don't really know what's happening out there with you guys. Put a little note in when you're emailing your results back, you know, do you think this is worthwhile? You know, if it is too much work, at the end of the week, just, you know, shoot me an email. Say, hey, I didn't get to this, you know, with the workload from the other class. I know I had mentioned a week or so ago that I'd be putting in late penalties. I think at this point, I'm not really going to do that. You know, if you guys get this stuff done, there's enough stress in the world right now. We don't need to worry about adding any more to it. With that being said, I don't want you to not do it, all right? But, you know, you 20 of you that are hanging on still and getting through these, just, you know, if I'm putting out too much, just let me know. You know, I'm not going to give you any late penalties or anything, but we want to make sure we get through this. So, that's about all I've got for this week. Yeah, and hopefully everybody's safe and healthy still. Any issues arise, please don't hesitate to contact me. Like I said, on Blackboard is, you know, email. That's probably the best way. Or if you have, you know, a semi-immediate question, shoot me a text. You know, my cell number's up there. Try to get back to you as quick as I can, and, you know, it might be the easiest way to communicate if you have a, you know, an immediate question, immediate need that we want to try to take care of. So stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll be talking to you in another week.